Cal. Mutt Man. Macho Dan. 6.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome. How are we doing?
What's going on?
All right. Well, if you are, I'm assuming we're live now. If you are just joining us, my name is Macho Dan or Macho, whatever you want to call it. This is the first episode of our new show, Breaking Rad. So welcome, everybody. It's going to be a good time. We got 4 people clapping, and that's the 4 people involved. So this show is going to be a little bit different, I hope, than a lot of shows that you're used to. A lot of times you're going to get creator spotlights or indie comics related streams where we're talking about the politics, and you're not going to get any of that. So if that's what you're looking for, just keep scrolling, swipe left. The show tonight is going to be we're aiming for fun. So what we're going to do is every single week we're going to have a topic that we're going to report on, either one of us or a number of us. This week, I'm going to start off the very first episode of Breaking Rad by talking about an episode that I've entitled Stealing the Duck. And it is all about how Steve Gerber, who invented Howard the Duck, gave it to Marvel, got upset with how he was treated, and stole him back, which is pretty cool. So it's an interesting story. Enough about that. I would like to introduce the panel that's going to be with me. If you guys will say hi one at a time, let's go ahead and we'll start it off with Mr. Marky Mark, 6 a.m. Comics.
Hey,
go ahead and introduce yourself, my friend.
Yeah, I am Mark Marianelli at 6 a.m. Comics. I'm the guy that does all the silly comic collages, Comicsgate collages on Twitter. And yeah, this is my first real live stream. Well, second, I guess. And so hopefully I won't screw it up too bad. That's all I got.
Welcome. Yes, right. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Sorry. Next we got we'll go with our man with the all the writing skills, Mr. Cal Jameson. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my friend.
I don't think I have all of them. I got a little bit of them. I'm Cal, and this is not my first or second stream. This is like my 12th or 15th stream, somewhere around there. I'm not great at it, but hopefully I'll break rad at some point. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And last and definitely least is our friend, the smelliest man around. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yo, what up? This is the Mutt Man, your friendly neighborhood Mutt Man. And as you can see by my title, I am the better half of Team Hero. Mm-hmm. So that's basically all you need to know. Macho is going to do his best today, and I'm here to clean up after him and make sure that it goes well.
Right on. Sounds good. Well, that is it. That is our panel. We have kind of this is our trial run, episode number 1. So there's going to be some things that we mess up or mix up, but we're going to start real quick. Before we get going, though, I wanted to look at the chat, which I have somehow moved. There it goes. Looks like we got our boy Mutt 7 of 9 is in here. He says stealing ducks is morally ambiguous.
Yes,
I agree. Cross Comics, Mr. Sexy Rick Piper.
Oh, yeah,
he said that he is funded. So Canadian Shield is funded, I think. Is that correct?
Oh, congratulations!
That is awesome. Well done, my friend.
Congratulations.
Right on.
Absolutely. And he did message me, and he was hoping to come on tonight. And I feel really bad that I had to say no.
You said no to Rick? What's wrong with you?
I know I said no to Rick. I feel really bad. Like I felt bad typing that, but but anyway. So I'm airing my my failures right now for him. We appreciate you, Rick. I love you, man. I'm really happy that you got funded. We got El Guapo in here too.
What up,
Caesar?
Caesar.
And we got Mikey Woods. He says, "Hail, Cal Jameson. Good to
What
see
up?
you, brother."
What up?
Hey, what's up?
Welcome.
So yeah, we got a bunch of good folks in here now in the chat. If you guys have things to say, please comment. We'll get to them as soon as we can. We're just going to keep it fun and light and just free of any sort of drama or anything. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to get started on my report. Once again, I'm talking about Steve Gerber, and he is the creator of Howard the Duck. If you've heard the story, it's really good. If you haven't, kind of just buckle up, like hold on to your butts. This is a good one. All right. So, I'm just going to jump right in. Steve Gerber. So if you don't know Steve Gerber, he created Howard the Duck. He also created Destroyer Duck. He had a thing for ducks. I don't know. And he was an advertising guy. And so Steve, he hated advertising. He hated his job. And he decided, well, he knew this guy named Roy Thomas, right? Editor at Marvel at the time. So he calls Roy and he says, "Roy, this job is killing me. I need to get out of advertising. Is there anything, like, I'll take anything. Give me a gig writing at Marvel." And I guess he could write because Roy Thomas gave him a job, and he put him onto, he's like, "Let's try out this comic called Adventures into Fear." All right. And you get to write about Man-Thing.
Cool.
Man-Thing. Everybody know Man-Thing. He's a big, gross swamp man, kind of a copy of Swamp Thing, except he's kind of like a cross between Swamp Thing and the turd monster from Dogma. That's the way I wrote it in my report here. He's a gross, stinky guy, comes out of the swamp, and he is like if you're afraid of him, his power is that he can kind of sense fear. And if you're afraid of him because you've done something wrong and he touches you, you basically boil into a puddle of like human goo. You're like fall apart. So that's Swamp Thing's kind of his
Man-Thing.
Man-Thing. Sorry, Man-Thing's
Does he need to sense fear? That seems like a silly power when you're a big green monster.
Yeah, I feel like
I feel that's a given. Like, I sense fear.
Right. I thought about that. Like, who's gonna like see him and be like not afraid of a gross swamp monster? Like, you've seen Man-Thing. Actually, I need to pull up. Well, I'll do it here in a minute. I have some photos I'll share, and he looks kind of like an elephant, like plant elephant mixture. Like I said, turd monster from Dogma and Swamp Thing. You mix them up, that's about what he looks like.
The engineer from Alien, the engineer dudes from Prometheus. Get that big.
Yes.
Thing.
With the big honker, man. Yeah. On the that was Jack Kirby's. Like they got that from Jack Kirby on
Did they really?
Eternals Eternals issue 1. If you look at it, the space jockey's totally in that. It's 100%.
No way. That was before Alien?
Yeah, I think so. Pretty sure. But I think that is derived from that anyway. I could be wrong. Somebody will tell me. Somebody will surely tell me if I'm.
And now Marvel owns the whole Fox.
They own
it all came together.
All of it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the thing about Man-Thing that's cool is that it really sets him apart just visually from Swamp Thing is that he's got like parts of skeleton like embedded in him.
Yeah,
it's really a creepy vibe. Yeah,
everybody would be terrified. Why is his power that he hurts people that are terrified?
Well, I think he's kind of one of those anti-hero types, right? So like it's not just so that he can destroy things. It's so that bad guys who have a sense of guilt and fear will be destroyed by him.
Does he sense the guilt too?
I think that he senses. I think the thing about him is he senses fear from people who enter where he is, and usually they're bad guys in his comics. So
there is bad guys. I'm glad you said that. So I'm going to continue on, but the idea is that like Man-Thing lives in this swamp, and it's like he's like in the Everglades in Florida. In his little slice of swamp heaven, he has like this nexus of realities that just happens around him. And in issue number 1, there's all kinds of weird creatures, and they just kind of like fall out of these parallel universes. And one of those weird creatures happens to be Howard the Duck. Okay. And so I'm going to read you guys the opening header for issue 1 of Adventures into Fear, and this is the first appearance of Howard the Duck in comics. So this is just going to set the scene, okay? The scene is the F.A. Schist construction camp on the edge of the swamp, and the situation is simply stated as this: reality has run amok. The demons in the service of the mysterious Overmaster, who seeks to rule the universe, and those who stand against him, are a barbarian prince, a disturbingly human duck, and a macabre man thing. This is but a prelude to the battle for the Palace of the Gods. Right? What is that? What do you guys feel when you hear that?
I kind of want Mutt Man to read that because I feel like
Does
he's
it
got a
get
good
you-
voice for.
He does have a good voice for that.
Yeah, much better than Macho's.
Does it
Much
get you
better.
amped up for this comic book? Are you like
Yeah,
fired
yeah,
up to hear it?
absolutely. I think it sounds cool, right?
All right. Well, this is basically how things shake out. You got Man Thing, who can sense fear, and if you're afraid of him and he touches you, you burn and die in a horrible death. You got this barbarian. He's like a He-Man wannabe. He has a pink skirt on and a big gold earrings, like big gold bangles.
They're going for his Prince version of He-Man.
Exactly. And this is a perfect, like, they could bring him right back. Marvel, this is like bread and butter right now. If you bring back, his name's Korek. He loves chopping up demons. He loves cutting them up. Like in the book, they actually show him. He's like lopping arms off and heads off, and they're falling apart. It's
Nice.
pretty great. And then you got the subject of our report, Howard the Duck, and he looks like Donald Duck. He looks like if Donald made a bunch of bad choices in life. He never met Mickey. He wound up living in the Bronx instead of Florida. And he has a bad habit of smoking cigars and drinking like hard liquor. That's kind of what you get. He also has, for some reason, a revolver that he's carrying around.
Yeah, that's right.
He knows English, and he's just your classic anthropomorphic duck not wearing pants. So you got all that happening in one page: Man Thing, demons, anthropomorphic duck, all that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's visually stunning, and I'll show you some photos here in a few. Yeah, Steve decided when he was writing Howard, he's going to give the art to a guy named Val Merrick, and so he drew a bunch of the issues, but Howard didn't last a long time. Basically, the editor at the time, Disney didn't own Marvel then, and so they were kind of getting a little bit upset that they had this duck that was very much like Donald Duck in these books, smoking cigars and stuff. So the editor was like, "You gotta, like, we're done. We got to get rid of Howard the Duck. It's real funny. You did a great job. He's out." So after a few issues, his story arc was over, and Howard got put into a dimensional portal. Because remember, they're in the Everglades where the nexus of realities happens. Like Florida is, I mean, about like that anyway. Like if you imagine all the weird things, like Florida Man and all his adventures, right? So, so they send Howard through this dimensional portal into the incredible Cleveland, Ohio. That's where Howard lands.
Fate worse than death.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny that like after that, fans started realizing that Howard wasn't in the book anymore, and they were very upset to find out that he was no longer featured as a character in the book. So Marvel editors decided to put him in a backup story, and it was a new giant-sized Man Thing. And I think it might have been like the second half of the book. Howard showed up. So the story picks up there, and once again, Howard has arrived in Cleveland, Ohio, and it's a mystical land full of new adventures and strip clubs for Howard to go to, and all kinds of things for him to get involved with.
So hold up, how were they able to do this again if Disney was breathing down their neck the first
I think
time?
I don't think that Disney was initially like very like vocal. They're just like, they kind of probably put out hey, you need to, this is real close to our thing. But there are so many fans that wanted it back. This is just from what I was reading. So many fans wanted to see Howard again that they were like, okay, we'll just take a chance and we'll put him in Cleveland, Ohio. So he's very far away from Florida. He's a different guy. He's not Donald the Duck. And they were making money on selling the comics, so they wanted to to keep it rolling. So it's pretty funny. So they let me pick up where I left off here. Actually, let me quickly check.
Disney took away that cigar now, didn't they?
What's that? Oh yeah, he had to put his cigar away for a little bit, but
I mean, it's probably gone for good now, right? Isn't Disney all? They don't
oh no, Howard is. You would not believe how much Howard stuff is out there.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's still smoking cigars and stuff. I thought they
he's still smoking cigars, and he's still like. I guess he. Well, I haven't read all the new stuff, but I did do some research for this on some of the new Howard. He's still just like a grumpy duck wearing a suit. He does have pants now, though. So which is kind of lame if you ask me. But so let's
PC
see.
culture.
Dang PC. I have to put pants on the duck. Yeah, after let's see, I'm gonna pick back up. He arrived back in Cleveland, Ohio. Oh man, where did I messed my little report here up? Yeah, so the story picks up. He's in the mystical land of Cleveland. Steve decided he was going to shoot for the moon. I can only imagine the sort of like drugs that Steve Gerber was taking when he started writing some of this stuff. Okay, because in Cleveland, Ohio, Donald started getting mixed up with all kinds of questionable characters and having some interesting misadventures. Some notable names are for the villains in his comics were Bessie the Hell Cow.
That's a great name.
Yeah,
that's pretty fantastic.
Garco the Man Frog, Turnip Man, the Kidney Lady, and the Elf with the Gun. All right.
Elf with the Gun.
The Elf with the Gun. Yeah.
I gotta get my hands on these comics.
So yeah, I did read some Howard because I have the Marvel app on my iPad, so I can just like look up all kinds of back issues, and they are really weird. They're super weird. So yeah, so Turnip Man, Kidney Lady, Elf with a Gun, like pretty exciting stuff.
Do we know the powers of these characters? I'm curious what.
I don't know. Somebody
Man's...
should get on that. We should have somebody. While I'm reading, somebody should get on that and get me some info on Turnip Man, what Turnip Man can do. So one of you guys work on that. All right. And amazingly, the book was a wild success. Howard eventually got his own comic book, and which was pretty cool. It sold out, first issue, 275,000 copies.
Wow,
Howard
really?
Sold out in issue number 1.
There's got to be some crossover there with Disney. Like people probably thought it was going to be something else.
Yeah, I would imagine that some people picked that up and they were like, "What am I reading?"
Yeah.
So anyway, it was incredibly successful. The success caused a lot of spinoffs and strange stories. Howard the Duck even campaigned for president of the United States at one time in 1976. But let me make it clear that he campaigned in the comic, not in real life. However, that did not stop thousands of people writing in his name, Howard the Duck, for their official vote.
Wow.
Which is pretty fun. I think it was like 11,000 votes or something were for Howard the Duck.
That's phenomenal.
Like a lot of
11,000 votes. Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
I looked up Turnip Man's powers, not to be too interrupty. As the space turnip, Winslow, his name's Winslow, could fly, levitate objects the size of a bus, generate background music, and fire destructive energy blasts.
Background music.
I guess his last name is Felch. Possessed telepathic powers and could merge with another being in a form of symbiosis. Winslow, as a security guard, presumably possessed at least minimal training in hand-to-hand combat and use of a firearm. It's like they had a hat full of powers, just like, you know. He can merge with people. He can make background music.
The background music is incredible. That's like the next time one of those silly things comes on, like Twitter, and it's what if you could have one superpower, what would it be? Create my own background music. 100%. 100%.
Okay, tagging on to that, I looked up Kidney Lady. She's literally just a lady who's afraid that there's like an intergalactic conspiracy to poison her kidneys. So she just rides the bus. She just rides the bus all the time, trying to protect her kidneys. That's her thing.
Why did they do Guardians of the Galaxy? This was like ripe for.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Taken.
Volume 3 is still going to come out. You never know.
So
Awesome.
yo, I got Elf with a gun. I got Elf with a gun. All right, so
If this superpower doesn't involve guns, I'm gonna crack up.
his name is actually Melf, M-E-L, and he is the original Elf with a gun. There's another Elf with a gun.
Oh, it's a legacy character.
Yeah,
Right.
the original Elf with a gun's name was Ralph.
They really.
Was he named Ralph with a gun?
Well, his name is Ralph. He's an elf with a gun, and he apparently just killed random people for no reason.
He was a superhero?
He is not a superhero.
He's a villain.
He is a
Oh,
villain.
he's a villain. Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Oh, this is like it's a great
Elf
role
with a
together.
gun. Yeah, he's just an evil elf, right?
He's just a mean little elf who likes to shoot people.
Yeah, it's messed
I
up.
was picturing Will Ferrell with a gun when
Well, I have a photo. Like once again, I'll show some photos here later, and I have a photo of Elf with a gun. It's not too far off of Will Ferrell in what's it called? Elf. All right.
Hey, puppy.
Yep. Is King in here? Can you see him?
What's up, King?
He just wants attention right now. I know. Big stinky dog. All right, so eventually now, for real, Disney catches wind and they're like upset. Like Howard the Duck is not cool with them. The kids are picking up this comic book and they're like, it's Donald Duck. And no, it's not Donald Duck. Howard the Duck was a comic that was designed for adults.
Right.
And Howard is he has a human woman as his girlfriend. He would often deal with like existential crises and questionable moral choices in his everyday life. And so kids it's not good for their little brains to read stuff like that. So
Right.
Disney actually sent over an entire character sheet and they're like, listen, this is a list of changes we need to be made. Howard needs to you're changing the color of this. He has to wear pants. He has to all these things, or you're going to get sued. And Disney then was still a powerhouse, not as big as they are now, not like one of our overlords as they are now, but they're still a powerhouse. And so by
Did we lose Mutt?
Oh, we did.
Did we? Hold on, I got him. There he is.
There we go.
Sorry.
Mikey Woods wrote, Gary Nerdrotic still votes Howard since his vote doesn't count as a recovery. I didn't know. I love Nerdrotic.
Who else do we got? Oh, yeah. And Daffy is greater than Howard, who's greater than Donald, is what Sepp says.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, too.
Yeah.
Me too.
By 1976, Howard had his own comic, a newspaper strip, and everything was going amazing for him until about 78, when Gerber took issue with the way the comic strip that was put into newspapers, how the teams were being paid. And it was taking them like 3 to 4 months or something to get paychecks, and they didn't really make a whole lot. They weren't, paid well for each issue or each strip they're putting out. And so he was like, Steve for some reason got upset because I guess his name was attached to it because it was Howard. And he threatened to leave and take his beloved Howard with him. And Marvel said, well, too bad. We own him. You can't take him. Steve said, well, you don't own me. And he stormed out of the office and tried to burn down the building. He set a fire in a dumpster.
What?
And he
Really?
No, he didn't do that.
Oh.
I wrote it in here because I thought you guys would be shocked.
So we just kind of kicked the table and walked out then?
Yeah, he probably just fine then, and he's left.
Stubbed his toe.
I also wrote he stole a bunch of office supplies, but he did.
He was a good boy.
He's a good guy. So since Gerber thought that he owned the rights to Howard and he could not take his creation wherever he wanted to, he was going to figure out a way to get him back. He worked a couple different times with Marvel, in and out, but Howard remained in Marvel prison. He sued Marvel, and the suit dragged on for years. ultimately it cost Steve Gerber a lot of money, but ultimately they ruled in the favor of Marvel, which is a bummer. Yeah. So let's pause right here on Steve, and we're going to take a little field trip in our time machine. Okay, we're going to jump back to the groovy year of 1973. Okay, we're in 78. We're going to jump back to 73. And a young director with some real early success in the motion picture industry, he got a copy of Howard the Duck. He pitched this idea to a bunch of movie writers. And unfortunately, that never amounted to anything because he was so busy. He was writing this blockbuster movie. It literally changed history. Any guesses what that movie was?
In 73?
It was, that movie didn't come out in 73. This is when he was writing this movie that literally changed history. Any
talk about Howard the Duck now? Is that
this is just a movie. Well, this is linked to this director. So anybody?
No.
How about Mr. George Lucas, who wrote Star Wars?
What?
He loved Howard the Duck. He loved it.
Oh, what?
So George Lucas, who wrote and directed Star Wars, he went on to make Indiana Jones, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, all those incredible movies that we know and love. He did those, and he put Howard aside. All right, they just didn't amount to anything.
Nice
but
job.
after he did all of his incredible movies, he was kind of worried that his success would dry up. All right, so all the merchandising would slowly fall off, and he decided to pitch another movie to Universal Studios, who actually passed on Star Wars the first time around. So when George Lucas came back up, and he was like, "Listen, I got this movie, Howard the Duck. Here it is. It's a duck with no pants. He lives in a human world in Cleveland, Ohio, and he has this human girlfriend." Universal was like, "Yes, we're in 100%.
Universal saw Star Wars.
Let's make this movie." All right. So
oh my gosh.
Kicking themselves, Mr. Skywalker pitched it, and they jumped in head first. They didn't look. And this turned out to be a failure of incredibly epic proportions. I will say that they wanted to do an animated movie, but Universal already had an animated movie planned for that year, and they decided to go live action. I think that was the biggest mistake. If they would have done it animated, it might have actually worked. But the live action movie, and I have another photo later, is terrifying. It is not good at all. It didn't translate to the big screen. And this is just I don't know why I wrote this in here, but I think Howard looks like Sean Austin.
Kind of does.
It does look like Sean Austin.
All right.
Funny because, oh man. Yeah. Wow.
So George Lucas doesn't just have wins, guys.
No.
No,
wow.
Doesn't. Jar Jar Binks is making a lot more sense to me right now.
Right? He is.
Yeah, there was a precursor to that, a big flop precursor to that.
And I've seen this movie. Have you guys seen that movie?
Which one? The Howard
the Duck. Howard the Duck, the original George Lucas.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've seen clips. I haven't watched the full thing. But.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky for you. So I remember watching it as a kid and liking it for obvious reasons. But I when I was reading this, I was doing this research and I was looking at it. And I was like, George Lucas did not direct that movie. And I looked it up, and sure enough, it says on the movie poster that was like sitting in the glass in the front of the theater, freaking directed by George Lucas. Like, how did that guy make that mistake?
So if the prequels had come out in the 80s, we would have had like a really dirty Jar Jar then.
Yeah, right? A dirty Jar Jar with no pants on?
That would have been phenomenal.
I'm telling you, man. See the romantic involvement between Leah Thompson and Howard in that movie. That kind of messed me up as a kid.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because
we're going to be talking about on the next show.
Yeah.
Look, if we're all willing to accept Jessica Rabbit and Roger Rabbit, I'm willing to accept Howard the Duck.
Sure.
Right.
I actually I was starting to, while I was doing this research, I was looking up photos, and I found a picture of Marty McFly beside his mom in the original Back to the Future, who is the actress who was with Howard on screen. Yeah. And so I started writing this like messed up fan theory, but it ultimately didn't pan out. It just didn't work. So,
man, that's too bad.
Was it?
my fan theory didn't work out. So maybe I'll revisit that later. So now, if that wasn't crazy enough, this is where things really, really take a turn. So hold on to your butts. That's my favorite. That's my favorite quote from Jurassic Park.
Or someone else.
All right. So Steve has gone back and forth with Marvel at this point for years. He worked with many of the greats in the comic industry, including the incredible Mutt's favorite artist ever, Jack Kirby, the King.
Yeah.
Nothing with Marvel ever stuck, and he was never able to secure the rights to Howard. And so this is where Steve has taken his own destiny into his own hands. In 1996, this is years later. So we were in 78 when we left off and did this little George Lucas time trip, right? So in 1996, Steve's gone back and forth with Marvel. He can never get Howard back. But Marvel decided it was going to take its most popular character ever. Any guesses? Any guesses?
America?
What's that?
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, yeah. I was waiting for you guys to guess Shatterstar or Cable, but nobody. I can't believe you guys didn't guess that. I'm sorry. Warpath. No, it is Spider-Man for sure. And so they took Spider-Man and they teamed him up with a bunch of lesser-known characters, and they thought maybe this is going to help bump popularity. We can bring some characters back that have been kind of dormant for a while. We'll team him up. He'll go on an adventure every month. It's going to be great. So they decide that Howard the Duck is perfect for this role. All right, nobody wanted to do it. None of the writers or artists wanted to tackle it, and the main reason was because Steve was in and out of Marvel, and he was friends with all these guys, and they didn't feel right about taking it and stepping on his toes because he loved Howard. That was always his character. So Marvel decides, hey, let's just call Steve Gerber, see what happens. Okay, maybe Steve will, maybe he'll do it for us. So it was a hard pass. Steve was not into it. He thought he was kind of upset because once again, he's been fighting for this character for years, for decades now. But then out of the blue, Steve calls Marvel back and says, you know what? I've had a change of heart, guys. I appreciate you calling me. I do want to do this story. I'll write this story for you with Spider-Man and Howard the Duck. So Steve throws down on this. But he has a plan ultimately to do something to Marvel here. While Marvel was getting the comic ready for print, Steve went behind their back. He had written it, that he handed everything off to the artist. The artist started doing his thing, and he went behind their back to Image Comics, and he talked to the then editor-in-chief, Eric, I'm a dog of a human Larson. All right, you guys know that guy, Eric, I'm a dog of a human Larson.
He's not that bad. He's not that bad. Give him a chance.
And I also wrote in here in my notes, Eric Larson sucks.
He's a really nice guy.
He is a terrible human being.
He's horrible.
He's terrible.
Sorry to gang up on you, Mutt. Dude, he's awful.
Mutt is just saying that because Mutt's just saying that because he knows I hate Eric Larson. I love Eric Larson's art. He is a great artist. There's I can't take that away from him. But as a human being, he is terrible. Anyway, what if he's Larson? Steve somehow convinced Larson to do this comic. Basically, this is how it's going to work. He is going to get Savage Dragon, Eric's character, and a character that Steve does have the rights to called Destroyer Duck. And they're going to team up in their own comic.
Who's Destroyer Duck?
Destroyer Duck is he is kind of like he's Howard the Duck, except he wears like a beanie cap, and he has like miniguns and stuff, and he's just like he's kind of like the Punisher except a duck, kind of. So he shoots a lot of guns and stuff. Also, not a great character, really.
Does he wear pants?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I've seen pictures with both. Most of the time, he wears pants. No shoes. Still no shoes.
Yeah.
But so yeah, he's teaming up Destroyer Duck and Savage Dragon, and what he wanted to do is he wanted this to be a crossover with Marvel. So he goes back to Marvel and says, "Listen, I got Eric Larson from Image, and he is agreed to do this comic, Destroyer Duck and Savage Dragon, and then we have Howard the Duck and Spider-Man, and we're gonna cross them over. All right, we're gonna fix the ends of this book." Cross them over. They're going to meet. It's going to be incredible, right? There'll be crossover people buying from both companies. It's going to be fantastic. So Marvel, for whatever reason, said, "Yeah, sure, go for it. Just make sure it doesn't make us look bad. We don't get in trouble, or there's no rights issues or anything like that." And Steve's like, "Don't even worry about it. I got this. It's fine. No big deal, everybody." So Steve gets these comics made, and Marvel doesn't realize it until the comic comes out, but Steve pulled a fast one. So in the comic, you have both of the storylines. They each end up in a warehouse in the same city, and Savage Dragon and Destroyer Duck enter this warehouse. They enter from one end of the warehouse, and then they're looking for this villain. It's a guy by the name of the Elf with a Gun. Okay.
Nice.
Oh, sorry. They're looking for. Well, they're ultimately looking for Elf with a Gun, but he has a partner that was a Image created villain. At the same time, Spider-Man, Beverly, who's Howard's girlfriend, and Howard go into the other end of the same building, same warehouse. They fight their respective villains. The Elf with the Gun, and there's some lady with a big snake that's always attached to her. It was real weird too. And in the final kind of scene of the book, there, Savage, it's a lady with a snake. So in the final pages of the book, Howard and Spider-Man and Beverly see these two dark shadows, shadowy figures, and it's Destroyer Duck and Savage Dragon. And in the same, they see these shadowy figures, and it's Howard and those guys. And so what happens is when they encounter each other, they have this big battle and they go their separate ways. But this is where things get really interesting. In the Image comic, they added a. Okay.
They now get interesting.
It gets way more interesting, trust me. So in the Image comic, they added some extra panels. So buckle in. The Elf with a Gun uses his magic right before this battle ensues. Okay, that's right. The elf, he doesn't just have a gun.
He has magic.
He has magic too. So the Elf with a Gun uses his magic powers to create thousands of clones of Howard the Duck and Beverly, which causes chaos. All right. In that chaos, it allows the Elf with the Gun to escape during the madness. So during this chaos, Destroyer Duck sees the real Howard and Beverly, and they're kind of they're over to the side as all these other Howards and Beverlys, and like there's chaos happening, right? And Destroyer Duck's like, hey, Savage Dragon, let's just snag the real Howard and Beverly. Like, these guys seem like they tackle all kinds of weird stuff all the time. I bet they could really help out in the Image universe. Like, they could help us out over here, right? And Savage Dragon, I guess, goes along with it, even though he's a law-abiding police officer at the time. Disgraceful. That should tell you all you need to know about Eric Larson. So there, he's like, these other guys, like Spider-Man, won't even know who is this Spider-Man guy. Lame anyway. Like, why would you name yourself after a spider? So they Destroyer Duck and Savage Dragon take the real Howard and Beverly back to the Image universe with them, and they leave Spider-Man with a clone of Howard and Beverly. For whatever reason, one set of clones does not disappear in this comic, and that's the Howard and Beverly clone.
Is that the Howard we have today? Is it Clone Howard?
So, yes.
That's why he wears pants.
Steve is laughing all the way back to the bank because he totally did a little switcheroo, and at least in the context of this comic book, the real Howard is free and he's in the Image universe. So the Destroyer Duck takes these guys back, and they leave Spider-Man with the clones. The thing is, Marvel technically owns Howard. They still technically own the rights to Howard the Duck. But Steve Gerber, until he passed away, said that they own the rights to the. They're using a clone Howard. They're not actually using the real one.
Can you get the rights to a character if you say it's a clone?
I don't know. It's never gonna work. It would never work out. Marvel has so many lawyers. They just throw lawyers at you until you were suffocated in lawyers.
I just love that Elf with the Gun's magic power is to turn other people into clones.
Right. I don't get it. It's so
he can make more of his enemies that I guess he can shoot. Is that
So in the last page, though, listen to this. This is the last bit. In the last page, Howard and Beverly they changed their names. Howard takes up the name Leonard, and Beverly changes her name to Melody. So after this comic book happens, the Savage Dragon and Spider-Man crossover, Steve actually took the characters of Leonard and Melody and started his own creator-owned universe where Leonard and Melody go on crazy adventures, just as Howard, like acting and working just like Howard and Beverly. So that is how Steve Gerber stole Howard back from Marvel Comics.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
That's real life. That's something else, man.
That is 100% legit real life.
That's crazy, man. So Howard the Duck, the name, and the clone is owned by Marvel, but Leonard, it's sort of like Witness Relocation. Yeah. The real character is owned by Steve Gerber's estate still, or Image Comics.
That is a question I don't know the answer to. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to take some. Oh man, fell into. All right, wait. Is my screen not sharing now?
We just see you.
All right. Why?
Here we go. Buckle in, guys. Hang on to your butts.
Going back in time again.
All right. Here we go. So let me pull up. Can you guys see some pic? Can you see Sean Austin? Hold on.
No.
Can you see Sean Austin?
No.
I see Breaking Red.
Oh man. All right. How do you work this dang old thing?
You got to share the correct window.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. No. Still no.
Did he dox himself?
Probably.
I did that once.
Add to stream. Is that my screen right here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right. You see Sean Austin?
Oh, there he is.
All right.
That's nice.
All right, here we go.
Too, ironically,
yeah, we'll have to keep doing this. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to just keep suffering through this way. All right, so let's look at some photos. Here's the elf with the gun.
Oh, look at that!
Love it, dude. That's holy crap.
You know that Disney owns this guy. That's amazing.
That's elf with a gun.
This is a Disney character now.
Sean Austin again, everybody. Let's pull up. Let's see. Let's look at Sean Austin and Howard the Duck side by side.
Oh my gosh!
No.
Oh my gosh!
Who did play Howard?
It's Rudy the Duck.
Rudy the Duck. I don't know who played him. Those are things I probably should have looked at. Yeah, right. So, so let's take a look. Here's the poster for Howard the Duck that was in theaters, and it says George Lucas right there.
Wow,
it's incredible. Let's see, what else do we got here? So here is the issue of Spider-Man with the team up, and it also had Gambit. What? You know that bad boy was just full of excitement.
Man. I gotta check on Comixology if they have that.
You should check it out. Let's take a look at a couple pictures from that comic. Here's Elf with a gun threatening a guy in a hospital bed. There's the snake lady. See, there's snake lady.
Well, there she is. Look at that butt cheek. Over the snake.
That's phenomenal. Look at that.
That's not correct.
There's a lot of weird things going on there that aren't making a lot of sense.
Yeah, right. So let's see what else do we got here. Here is there's all the bad guys. So there's like fake Joker, Elf with a gun, Snake Lady, Bullet Head, and then these two dudes like BDSM French guys. Like
Yeah.
All right.
like I don't know who was if Steve was creating this or what. It was just like real weird. Like he was smoking something.
It looks like Puck.
He does kind of look like Puck a little bit up in the top here, and he has a little lute on the top of his like hat here. Elf with a gun, man, he might be my new favorite villain.
Yeah.
And then in this panel here, it might be kind of hard to see, but this is actually where Savage Dragon is. He's sitting with everybody, and there's Howard now. This is after Howard turned into Leonard. He's like going into like relocate. He says, "Sorry, Lynn, you can't go home again. We have to relocate you." And he said, "If you think I'm going to freeze my tail off in South Dakota," he's like, "No. Well, that's a relief. You're headed for Buffalo." And then he has this like,
so Eric Larson bears some responsibility then.
yeah. I mean,
he's in on it before the reveal.
Yeah, 100%.
So he went from Donald to Daffy.
And then here is the first issue of Leonard the Duck, which they 100% copied off of the first Howard the Duck issue.
Yeah.
Is that Wolverine in the shadow?
Yeah, they're just like he's playing with fire on this one.
Like how much can we push it?
And I like how he put Spider Crab here. In the bottom.
even like the title and the how they formatted everything is wow.
It's exactly the same. It's a 100% rip off of the Howard the Duck issue #1.
That is a grade A troll right there.
Yeah, It was really funny. Like Steve Gerber might be my favorite creator now. Like he was incredible. And let's see. Do I have anything else exciting? Oh yeah, here's the first appearance of Howard right here. There's Man Thing. There's Korak. You see his little gold earring and his pink skirt. And then there's Howard the Duck right there.
Wow.
So yeah.
So Man Thing, he doesn't have any powers related to being in a swamp, does he?
I don't think so.
He's a big vegetable, but his power is to smell your fear and melt you.
Smell your fear and melt you. Yeah, that's it.
Hey, let me show you. I have this awesome shot of him. I think I do this right. This is one. Can you guys see that?
No, hold on. Let me do it. There we go.
Oh,
so that's what I'm talking. Look at those skulls. There's like a rib cage.
That's really good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I love Swamp Thing, but dude,
that's super good.
There's like I think there's a snake in him
crawling through that dude's skull.
Yeah,
that's wicked,
dude. That's cool. Okay,
I do respect the skirt, Gothic art.
Yeah. So that's my report. That is my report on Howard the Duck and Steve Gerber. What do you guys think?
Dude, great. That's really good, man. It makes me nervous about when I have to do one of these because that's a good story, man. That's like that could be made into a movie,
right? Like there should be a documentary about it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start cloning everybody's independent characters now. I'm gonna have like Leonard Sasquatch.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that he came out of an advertising background.
Yeah.
And then so he comes into comics later, right? And then he becomes like this sort of real rebel in the midst of it. So, my background is like that too. I'm kind of coming from advertising, marketing into comics.
So all the bad boys are in.
That's right. That's right.
All the bad boys.
Yeah. Well, the reason I'm relating to it is I think that when you kind of come into it older and a little bit more seasoned, especially in a hard hitting corporate world, it's possible that you could be a little bit more savvy, right? So he probably becoming a little bit more savvy. A lot of these guys that start out young, start out as illustrators or writers, they get used to the comic, the world, and how things work. And these guys that come out of advertising where it's really, kill or be killed. You're living off the last thing you did literally yesterday. And here he comes in here, and I think he just had a little bit more moxie probably than they expected him to have.
Yeah. It's such a cool story that he came out and he just hated. I love that he hated this job, and he's like, I'm just going to work for Marvel. I'm going to call Roy and just get a job at Marvel, and he did. He did it, and then he worked.
I need a nice cushy job.
Yeah, exactly. Not that.
Now you have to
anymore.
check at least like 3 marginalized people boxes to work at Marvel. I think to get a new, at least to start.
Sure.
What's up, Comic Book Bob?
Yeah, Comic Book
Hey,
Bob. What's up?
Yeah, we've got a few extra folks in the chat. You might want to give some shout outs real quick.
Yeah, so I appreciate everybody listening to me while I was talking. Oh my gosh, there's so many things back here. Let's see what we got. Oh, Sean is in the chat. Goonies never say die. Don't be hating on hashtag Jar Jar.
Yeah. We got Mikey Woods in the chat.
Yeah, Mikey.
He's giving all love. That's good. We got Gothic Arch in the chat. Welcome. We've got Lee Johnson in the chat. We also got Comic Book Bob came in. I think we mentioned it.
Yep.
And so I think that catches us up with who's joined us tonight.
Yep. I was looking to see if I got any other interesting. Lee Johnson says 6 a.m. comics is the Howard. The Howard is the hero we deserve.
He is.
Let's see.
Well, this story really makes me want to see a new, like they gave you a little Howard the Duck Easter egg in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it makes me want to see something done with it. Like now that I know all the stuff, I want to see some kind of a really interesting sort of like comics lore Easter egg thrown in there.
Yeah,
I thought that Easter egg would be. I thought the Easter egg was going to be like a. I thought that was like a hey guys, we might do something with this character in the future, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Maybe they will. You never know, and who knows? Maybe Howard will get a resurgence again and get popular again.
Well, with the direction Marvel's going, I don't think he fits.
Probably not.
He fits into that.
He's like Howard is like a whiskey drinking, cigar smoking white guy trapped in a duck's body, and that's not good.
According
not good
to Taylor Swift's new song. Have you guys seen that?
No.
It's called The Man. Watch it. It should be called The Straw Man. Because it's basically her dressed as a guy singing about how much better she'd have it if she was a guy while she's a multimillionaire.
Yeah,
singer.
she's got it really hard, really bad.
Oh my gosh.
Well, so James Gunn is back to direct Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I think that he would be the creative push behind those kinds of things. And so probably Marvel didn't really know what to expect toward the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 because of the bad press. He got fired, so they're probably just kind of in the editing room put a big old stop on that kind of stuff.
Is he coming back? I thought I heard he was coming back.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah, he's gonna be doing Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and
he finished Suicide Squad recently.
Yeah, Suicide Squad 2, yeah.
Yeah. I mean it might be good.
Sides.
I'll probably see it.
I didn't even realize while you're talking about it, all the Sean Astin talk, and we've got the Goonies shirt again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about it, but yeah. I didn't know. I had no idea ahead of time.
He's like the Kevin Bacon of the nerd world.
Yeah.
All right. So Sean said, pretty sure I saw Howard the Duck in the theater to my shame. When I think they have killed the X-Men beyond anything possible, they kill them all over again. You're not wrong.
Are they doing something else with it soon, or what?
Have you seen this opening a can of worms? Well, I'll tell you guys this. We can talk about it, and then we'll move on a little bit. But recently there was an article, and some of it is sensationalized to a point, but it's
Wolverine.
it's so like like I wanted to believe that people were just being a little crazy and like trying to draw all these conclusions to something that wasn't there, but there's something there.
Oh
What they've
no.
done is in the newest it's like House of X maybe, on the dark side of the moon, the Summers family, Cyclops has built this like compound for the Summers family. And so all the Summers, like it's Cable and Havoc and what's her name? Hope Summers and all of them, they live there. But Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Wolverine have 3 adjoining rooms. And there's some very weird dialogue between Wolverine and Cyclops, which leads you to believe there was like some sort of relationship. And so
all those years of hating each other was really just frustration.
What's that?
All those years of hating each other was really
they're just mad that they couldn't be together, I guess. I don't know.
It's like, look, if we ever get to the moon, we'll just
nobody's there to So anyway, there's like
it's like Iceman and John Constantine, like all the retrofitting. It's fine. Create an LGBTQ plus character. That's fine. But stop retroactively making characters something that they're not.
Right.
Hey, look, what happens on the dark side of the moon
stays on the dark side.
On the dark side of the moon.
100%.
Let it stay there.
100%.
I was just thinking that Jean Grey is the problem, because she was the problem with Iceman.
Right. Yeah.
And now she's the problem with this situation. So we really she needed to die and stay dead is really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Jean Grey's the problem. She's changing everybody's minds in the future and in the past.
This all goes back to the Phoenix.
It's true. All right, so I want to move on real quick, and I have a question for you guys. And I thought it would be fun to end each show with a question, a hard one in the chat. You can participate as well. Give us your opinion. So I'm just going to start it off this time with a would you rather. All right. And I thought about Cal when I picked this question, but you guys can take turns answering. Would you rather lose the ability to read or lose the ability to speak?
Oh, read.
You say read?
I don't use that anyway. It's fine. I draw pictures for a living.
That's true. Cal, what do you got?
It's a tough one because I'm actually not great at speaking. I write well, I sing well, but I'm not good at talking, making words come out of my mouth in a speaking fashion. And I do a lot of my reading through my ears lately through Audible. So
me too.
I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I would say
dictate some Nobi Sasquatch to
yeah, right.
I would say read.
Yeah.
I'd say read. I mean, I'll type. I'll just type and like trust my instincts.
Yeah.
And then I'll just hire an editor to.
Somebody will be like, "What does this even say?"
Yeah.
Well, no. In the days now with voice text, you don't need it.
You can dictate to the computer. Comic Book Bob says, "I speak with my fists." And then Septinov says, "I would rather lose the ability to speak. Sign language can be learned." Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. What do you think, Mutt? What do you think, Mutt?
I'm definitely giving up reading like that because I got to get on my soapbox.
Hold on. Here we go. Go ahead.
I got to stay on the soapbox and I got to tell people things.
That's right.
I got a lot of opinions, Macho. So
I know. I have it ready whenever we need it. I can put this up here for you whenever we need it.
Just print out your soapbox. We'll scroll it like Star Wars. From that soapbox.
Yeah.
I'd probably give up reading too. I feel like.
Plus, I gotta yell at my kids. Like I gotta yell.
Yeah, I gotta yell at them.
Definitely. Do you read now, Macho? You listen to every book you've got, right?
Yeah, I listen to everything. So, and that brings me to this. Cal, I started Odd Thomas.
Oh, are you liking it so far?
I like it a lot. I'm on like chapter 20. And this won't mean anything to anyone except for Cal. But so Odd and Stormy just left the bowling alley where they were looking for Fungus Guy. There you go.
Oh man. dude, I love that. I just finished the series.
Yep.
And then there's like a Dean Koontz wrote like a short like a flashback kind of a thing from when they were teenagers. And I read that, and then I found out there's like an interlude that I have to find that and read it. But man, the whole series together is so good.
How many books are there?
I think there's
more than
8.
5.
I think there's like 7, 8, or 9, something like that. I think between 7, 8. So
yeah, it's good. I'm liking it a lot so far.
Cool. Yeah. And the thing is, like, you know, I mean, if you're Christian people like we are, it's great. There's no dirtiness. There's very little like anything that's gonna, you know, I want to say offend because that's like a stupid word, but you know, there's not a ton of like cursing and stuff like that. I think Dean Koontz is Catholic, but like a serious or was before he passed. Now he's in heaven, but yeah, it's just like the books are so good, and it made me realize like I don't have to write the way that I think people want me to write. You know, I can just write. If the story's good, it's going to stand on its own. You don't have to put a bunch of F-bombs in there to make it a good story, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think he has any. I think it's all, you know, SH word or B word, something like that, you know? But it's good stuff.
It's clean. It's a good book. Have you ever read there's a book called it's by Patrick. It's Name of the Wind. I forget, Rothfuss or something. It's called The Name of the Wind. It's incredible book. Like, you should put that on your list and listen.
I'll look
to that
it up
one.
right now.
But so that book, it reminds me of it in a way that like the Odd Thomas book. He's doing a lot of things that are very like mundane to a point. Like there's some action, but it's not crazy action. That's kind of how that book is. But I listened to it and I could not get enough of that book. It's called The Name of the Wind.
Cool. I found it.
Yeah, you should 100% get that one. It's incredible.
All right.
Every time you say Odd Thomas, I think of Thomas the Train. So I'm
Odd Thomas the Train.
What the book is about.
Moth.
Cool. Well, it is officially 10:33. We made it to our hour. I hope you guys enjoyed my report on Howard the Duck. Everybody in the chat, I appreciate you guys being there and participating with us. Cal must have farted or something like that.
There's a moth. I'm afraid it's going to go in my mouth.
Is that a genuine fear?
Yeah.
That's just extra protein, man. They're a little
What
chalky.
it's going to do when it goes in there? Lay moth eggs.
Fine, whatever. I'll be macho, like Macho Dan.
I'll grab them out of the air and eat them.
Just stick your tongue out. Show us how tough you are. Stick your tongue out and just hold it out there.
Moth.
There you go. Oh, there it is. There it is.
All right.
You know, your body has other holes, right?
Oh, my ears are covered.
That wouldn't be the one I was worried about.
I actually have that fear of my son always knows the name, but like holes, like
Oh yeah,
like tripe or beehives, like anything like that just grosses me out. Like seeing a bunch of holes like that are all together.
That's a real thing. My wife is with bumps. She doesn't like seeing bumps.
Yeah, mine is the holes thing, and someone put on the internet like a Photoshop. Yeah. Someone put on the internet like a picture of like a Photoshop picture of like a beehive style holes like on a human finger or something. I want to barf just thinking about it. I don't know where it comes from. Huh?
Do you picture like little moths flying inside the hole?
Oh my gosh! Why would you say that? Spiders are scary too.
Dude, this is so weird. I have never heard of this in my life.
Have you looked it up?
If you're going to the bathroom and there's a moth in there, do you just like pinch it off or?
Oh, I'm not that scared of moths. I don't know. I thought it might go in my mouth. I don't know. It's not a constant fear I have. I'm not like walking around every day like, there's a moth. I know there's a moth somewhere. No.
What about spiders? They say spiders go in your mouth.
That's what they say. I choose to ignore that.
We have wolf spiders down here, and I thought that is.
Have you guys heard that like in Fig Newtons there's like so many there's a percentage of a fig Newton in every fig Newton that's bug. So it's like bug matter. So it's like every fig Newton is 15% bug parts.
I've heard that about like all kinds of food, that they're allowed to put like a certain amount of but a certain amount of like insects are allowed to be in our food. I'm like, no.
Did you guys see Snowpiercer? That was like the plot of like big chunk of that movie was.
Oh yeah, they did. They ate a lot of bugs.
Which one?
Snowpiercer.
Dude, I was just thinking that. And the Snowpiercer's food looks like fig Newtons with no Newton or whatever it is on the outside.
I like fig Newtons. After I heard that they might be more bug, like it didn't bother me.
Yeah,
I'll keep eating them.
You'd survive it. You'd survive.
I'd survive the apocalypse. I like the crunchy bits and like fig Newtons.
You could do it, and you've got like meat tearing teeth too already. So you're already
dang, look at that,
built for survival.
Delicious.
Yeah, all natural.
Yeah,
I'm a day walker.
He's like it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Everybody in the chat, we appreciate you. Let's see who we got. Once again, Sean, Comic Book Bob, El Guapo, Septinov, Mutt Man, how'd you get in there? Lee Johnson, anybody else? What was it? Mikey Woods, thank you, sir, for coming. Cross Comics, congratulations again, Rick. Yeah, we appreciate you guys.
Lee bought some merch from the Shinobi Sasquatch store.
Oh,
thank you, Lee.
Lee's a good dude. Lee's a great dude.
There you go, Lee.
Aguapo says, good show, guys. Appreciate that so much, man. We're going to keep on. We're going to do this every other week. So not next week, but the week after we'll do another one. And we're going to come in with, what was the title of the next one, Mutt? It was Things That Messed Us Up.
Yeah, basically. I can't remember exactly what I said. Why we're messed up.
While we're messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So we're each going to have a little mini report on things that messed us up, and this is all relating to pop culture, movies, TV, comic books, stuff like that. So,
oh yeah, Macho, are you one of the sexy vampires from Twilight Art?
I mean, look at me. What kind of question is that?
That's beautiful. Yeah.
The only time he sparkles is when he's sweating on that big dome of his in the sun. That'll blind somebody.
When my head's greasy and the sun hits it just right.
Change that to Handsome Dan.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Somebody else gets it. Thanks.
Dan.
So yeah, that is a show. On that note, Handsome Dan, we're gonna end the broadcast. Everybody have a great night, and I'll see you soon. You guys stay.
Oh, me stay?
Yeah, you